Yeah, I know, family. We've been through some hard weeks. Lord, we've been through some hard weeks and we've lost a lot of folk. Man, when will it stop? Come on, children. Come on, parents. Come on, adults. Come on. What is really going on? We have got to really get together on this and solve the problem in Chattanooga. And, today, just a moment here, we'll have Pastor Jeff Wilson of New United Church to join me as we talk about what we as a community can do about this. I know the pastors are coming together or have come together to talk about how we're going to stop this and what we need to do to intervene. I mean, obviously, there is some hurt in our communities all across the city. Obviously, there are some things going on in people's lives that need attention, uh, counseling, mental counseling. We have all kinds of addictions going on, depression, PTSD. I mean, this is definitely something that is beyond just people picking up guns and just deciding to just shoot innocent people for no reason. It's beyond that. And so we've got to dig deeper into the culprit and the basis upon which our people are wowing out. They're wowing and wilding out. And all I see in that is hurt. And I also see where our government, in some ways, have, no, in all ways, have abandoned our community. They have divested from the black and brown and poor communities. And understand what the word divest means. That means they stop putting money into the community as long as black folks are living there. Our industries that once were in our neighborhoods, Walmart, the Walgreens, the pharmacy stores, CVS, all of these places that we need and depend on to have what we call neighborhoods are gone. We just have the hood. The hood is just the people, and the house values are plummeting because we're not keeping them up. Maybe there's not any investment going into our neighborhoods to help restore and revitalize our communities. Our um, facilities, recreational facilities, closed too early. The things that culturally we enjoy doing, nobody's doing them anymore. Or if it is, it's in spots and places. And I mean, it's just a lot of neglect that if you neglect anything too long, you can expect these type of reactions. It's a violent outcry for help. And so we are going to deal with this. We are dealing with this sometime, and it's unfortunate that it takes a violent curve before the community will wake up and understand that we have got to do something about it. And you can't do something about it by just talking about it. You got to be about it. And when I say be about it, we got to have funds put back into our communities. We got to bring industries back to our communities. We've got to raise the value of our people in our communities by putting education back in the schools to where our people can learn, that they can get trades. It's just a lot of things are missing that leads to this. And I think about the schools in our neighborhoods. Good teachers are trying to run. Some of them are quitting because the families that attend these schools have gotten so out of sorts that they can't control their kids. They're not trying to control their kids, and the kids have lost respect for their parents. So when they lose respect for their parents, they wild out in the streets. There's nobody raising the kids. And if they are raising the kids, they barely are. And so I'm not saying that parents, you need to come to parenting classes, because the ones that need to come to the parenting classes don't think they need parenting skills. And they're not coming. So you'll find that there'll be good parents showing up on how to get some helpful tips to make things better for their kids. But the ones that really need it, they ain't coming. They're not coming to family classes. They're not coming to mental counseling. They're not doing any of that, because sometimes you can get so far to the right or to the left that you just lose your mind and you don't think anything is wrong with you. You think something is wrong with everybody but you. And so it comes to the point, well, what do we do? What do we do? There's a lot of answers, and some of the answers you don't agree to. Some people say lock them up. Just lock them up. Bring the paddy wagon down there and just load them up and put them in jail. Some say put the parents in jail because they're responsible for their kids. Some say just let them fall by the wayside. Let them just kill themselves and they all die. So I've got someone here today. He's going to join me now. Pastor Jeff Wilson, who I have the utmost respect for, who is a civil rights activist, who is a community activist, who is a renowned, well-known, and respected pastor of this community that have been in the community fighting this fight, sometime by himself. I have seen him in meetings go off, plumb off, because he loves our community. He loves all communities. But when one community is being left behind, you can expect Pastor Wilson to show up sooner or later. I watched him on the school board council when he was a school board representative for Chattanooga, and he would fight for those kids. And I've seen him at the police meetings when they had the academy class. I think they still do, fighting to get more black and brown people on the streets, more people that look like us. I've seen him raise all kind of good trouble to try to make our community better. And you all have his bio. We put it on our website. We put it on our Facebook. You all can read all of that good stuff about this man who's now working with the pastors all over this city to bring our people together. And we want him to we've kind of introduced you. We got you all on the website, and we have so much love and respect for you, Pastor. And I want you to talk about what the pastors are going to do, because people say, what the pastor said? What the pastor said? They supposed to be here. What they going to do? What they going to do? So I know you all have done a lot of stuff. And I know you all are doing something today. So I'm going to turn it over to you, because our people, our listeners, and they're listening all over the world. All over the world. WPTP is national and international. And they want to know, what are the clergymen doing? What are they doing about our communities being left behind? And what are they going to do about this violence? So, Pastor, thank you for coming.
Well, thank you for having me, Dr. Woods. And this is such an important topic. We've just got so much going on in our communities, and appreciate you and what you're doing. And I, too, admire your commitment. This is home for us. This is not a stop through. It's not a passing kind of thing for us. We in it.
That's it.
And these are our kids and our communities, and you and I, and we all agree we've got to work to improve our community. One of the things that's happening today at 3:00, pastors are coming together for a moment of gathering and unity and prayer. Not just pastors, it's open to lay people, anyone who wants to come. So that's going to happen in a couple of hours. 2 locations. As you all know, we've had 2 incidents of violence over the past 2 weekends, past 2 Saturdays. And the first one was on the Walnut Street Bridge.
Wow.
2 weeks ago. And just sadly, these are our children who have been arrested for this. And so I'll lead a group at the bridge at 3:00, and we're just going to have a moment of prayer and just thinking about these families and things of that nature. The second location will be in front of Mary's Lounge. Many of you all know that was the scene of what took place on last week. They mentioned in today's paper the names of the individuals, and I think they said 4 children were left
Mm.
behind. So it just touches so many facets of society. So if you're in Chattanooga and you're able, join us at 3 o'clock. I know a lot going on today, Juneteenth. Don't want to take you away from that, but come out, spend a little time with us. You can either come to the Walnut Street Bridge on the downtown side or down in front of Mary's. Pastor Anthony Taylor will lead that group. But Dr. Woods, in that, because you're right, the question people say, what are the pastors, the ministers, what are they doing? One of the things I want you to know that we have not only been talking, because I believe you got to do more than talking. You and I've talked
Amen.
about some other things that we
Yes.
got to do also. There's just a lot of ground to cover. We had a meeting yesterday with city officials. In fact, pastors, clergy, community persons. We got another meeting set up with the mayor coming up in about a week and a half or so, and then we're going to the county mayor
Mm.
because we've got to get to the core of what is really going on.
Yes.
And a lot of it, and we talked about this yesterday, a lot of it's multifaceted. A lot of it is around economics,
Yes.
opportunities, jobs, careers. There are a group of young people, young adults. They're adults, but they're young adults,
Yes.
18 through 24. A lot of young men in particular that have little to no prospects.
Yes.
Maybe some of them have a record, which shouldn't hurt your whole life, but
Yes.
for them it hinders them. So you're 18, 19, 20, 21. You've got a record. uh
Mm.
Maybe you're deficient in terms of a credential or education.
Yes.
Where can you get a job? And not just a job, not these kids now, this $7, $8, $9 an hour. They're not trying to hear that.
Can't
You
live
need
on
a
that.
well,
Living wage is $15
that's what
now.
they say. And there was a statistic that said that it took really more than that. Someone said $28 an hour. That's a family or something. So if you're making, $9 an hour, $8 an hour, you can't really live.
Right.
And the housing and thing, we look at what's going on in our communities and housing, neighborhoods gentrified, people not living $900, $1,200 a month rent.
Don't even
How
make
you gonna
that.
pay that kind of rent with $8 an
And
hour
feed your family.
and feed your family? You
Can't do
can't.
it.
You cannot do it. And so that has to be a conversation that has to take place.
Yes.
And I know myself and others, yourself, others, we can't be afraid in this hour. God is calling
We
for prophetic
losing.
voices.
We
We're
losing.
losing. And if I think the thing that some of us have forgotten is that if we don't all win, then no one wins.
Amen.
It's not acceptable. I got mine, you get yours.
Exactly.
That doesn't work, because at the end of the day, everyone loses. And so I know, it just is what it is. A lot of times the violence, when it happens in certain communities, that it's like, okay, but then if it happens in the money communities
Mm.
and the suburban
And
communities,
everybody ready to lock
everybody
everybody
ready to
up.
lock everybody up then.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
it happens in the inner courts, well, so
Mm-hmm.
folk have got to realize that if you don't deal with the violence that's happening in East Chattanooga or the West Side or Alton Park, sooner or later it's coming to
It's
Hickson,
spilling over.
it's coming to East Brainerd, it's gonna make its way to Saudi, gated community. Doesn't matter where you live, it's gonna come to you.
They'll wait for you to come outside your gate to be waiting for you on the other side of the gate.
I may get in your gate now.
They climb over.
Hey, we gotta spread that message. So we got a lot of work to do, and we encouraging everybody. We're gonna keep the pressure on.
Right.
My grandmother had a pressure cooker. You got to keep the pressure on. The old days, crock pots
right.
and pressure cooker. You got to keep the pressure on.
Yeah, and we depend on our pastors, really. I think that's what it is. We're kind of lost, Pastor.
Okay.
Because, back in the 60s in the civil rights movement, there were always our pastors, our godly members of the community in the forefront leading us.
Correct.
And so I appreciate the group. Is it the clergy servant? What is the name of it?
Yeah, right. Some of the servant leadership, fellowship, servant,
clergy
right.
cannoneer, all the pastors coming together.
Yeah.
Because we depend on your leadership.
Absolutely.
Because if God sent you to do the job, We know it's going to be done. And I know there's a lot of us or a lot of people that are still lost, but they still rely on the pastors. Even though they may be lost, there's a little bit of light inside of them that says, I know if the preachers go forward, I can depend on them to help me. So there
Absolutely.
are people that are lost, but they still need the pastors because they're hoping that at some point in time they can come up out of that, and they're waiting on the pastors to help pull them over. And so no matter what's going on out here, no matter how many people are lost, they still need our clergymen to take charge. And so I'm so excited about the fact, and I'm not really just excited, I am pleased with the fact that the clergymen are taking the leadership on getting down to the bottom of, number one, the divestment in the Black communities in this
Absolutely.
city. Because when you see a lot of this disparity and you see a
Absolutely.
lot of the hopelessness, the homeless people, the lack of economic development, and the housing situation as it is in our community, a light should go off in everybody's head. Why is it just the Black community? And now we got to say poor community, because we have white folks that are just as poor and they live right next door to the Black folks that are poor. So
Absolutely.
why are our poor communities allowed to get completely depleted of funds and resources, and then investors come in and buy the houses and the property for $1, and then they take over, and then our communities don't look anymore like us? So the preachers are here for all. That's the reason why he's on here today, because
Absolutely.
I am really hearing it too much. What the pastor's gonna do? The pastors are not even working together. What are they gonna do? Well, they are working together. Squash that rumor, because they are working together, and they're meeting with our mayors. They've got a meeting with the county mayor, because we have some real issues. When no money, when I say no money, I mean 0%. Maybe I'm going to say 0.1,
That's about right.
because you got to have 0.1 in there for error.
Mm-hmm.
When
Mm-hmm.
0.1% of $71.4 million is being put in the community, African American and poor community, and the leaders say they're going to rest good at night on that decision, we have a problem, Pastor. And,
We
and
do.
especially when the money is earmarked for impacted communities.
Absolutely.
And I know that when President Biden chose certain cities across this nation, and he did not give every city ARP money, ARP.
Right.
He did not. He chose Chattanooga out of a whole nation. There were many others, but we were one of those few cities that was chosen to get lump sums of money, of that American Recovery Fund money. And I know when he looked at this city and he saw the impact that it had on Black communities, he
Absolutely.
had Black communities in his mind when he sent the money. So, because Black people were hardest hit, Black communities were hardest hit. And poor people live together with Black people. So anybody that live in our communities, Black,
Absolutely.
white, brown, we're not excluding any color or race.
Absolutely.
But I'm simply saying the money was intended to bring back economics, to build what was broken, to heal what was sickened during the COVID period. And if we only got 0.1% of the money, then we got to talk.
Absolutely.
We got to talk, because until we are treated right, and we're dependent on our pastors, because you all are the leaders of our community. It's God,
Absolutely.
family, and the church.
Absolutely.
That's the order. Am I right?
That's right.
God,
Absolutely.
family, and the
Absolutely.
church.
Absolutely.
And we are dependent, and we don't have nowhere else to go. If the pastors don't come together and fight for us in this community, then what we going to do?
Absolutely.
What we going to do? So I'm asking the entire community to pray for our pastors. Pray for them, because they are going forward into the war. They're going forward into war, and they need us with them. So when they call on us to come together, put all your differences aside, all your personalities aside. Don't think about yourself. Think about the whole community, because that's what it's going to take. And when the enemy see that we are together despite our ills, despite all the things that's wrong and dysfunctional or whatever you want to call it, but when they see us come together with God,
Absolutely.
with God and our pastors leading the way, the devil is going to flee. I'm telling you, because when we come together, when God's people come together, it is no force that can come against it. No force. And we are going to get respect, and we're going to get what we're supposed to have, because God gave it to us.
Absolutely.
He gave it to us.
Yeah, he sure did. Absolutely.
He gave it to us. So I am so excited that the pastors, they have come together. Quit saying they're not agreeing with each other. They disagree with each other. They can't come together. Yes, they have. Yes, they are. See, that's the enemy.
Right.
The
That's
enemy.
correct.
The enemy want people to think that the pastors are feuding and they can't get along. This kind of stuff. That's a lie from the pits of HE double hockey stick.
Absolutely.
These pastors are working together, talking together, meeting together, and they're getting things done, on behalf of our people in this community.
Absolutely.
So let's just dispel that rumor right now. And so what else do you want to say? Because we're gonna bring you back.
Well, I want to come back. I mean, there's so much, but everybody. I just go back to the fact that we all, I always tell the story. My godmother, rest in heaven, been gone, 20 years. She lived well into her 90s, but she was 80 years old, 80, cutting the grass. And I always remember she would cut her grass and she kept her yard immaculate. Well, she got to a place, 83, 84, 85. She said, I just can't cut it anymore. So she paid a guy. And I never forget going by to visit, and she was hot as the dickens. She was standing out there with a big hat on and just had like a snarl on her face. And I said, what's wrong? And she was fussing. And she said, baby, she said, look at this. She said, you see what this is? I said, no, what is it? She said, that's a dandelion. I said, okay, a dandelion. I ain't working the yard like that. She said, you want to know how this dandelion got in my yard? I said, I don't know. She said, you know how well I keep my grass cut. And she would water it and keep it and treat it. She said, boy, I'm going to tell you what happened. That man that I had to pay to cut my grass, he doesn't clean his blade like he should. And so the dandelions, the weeds that he is picking up from over there are now making their way over here.
Get out of here.
And now I have weeds in my grass. And I tell you, doctor, that taught me a life lesson that has informed a lot of my work today. It does not matter how well you keep your yard, your house.
Did y'all hear?
Me and my house, raise your children a certain way. You do this a certain way. If you're not concerned or invested with what goes on around you, sooner or later, it may not be sooner, but it certainly will be later. The dandelions and the weeds that are in other yards are going to find their way over into your yard.
Them seeds gonna travel.
And there it is. And so that is, I mean, I stand by that. We got to be connected. We got to be committed. It's just not acceptable to just lock in on yours, because sooner or later,
there you go.
This stuff is coming. It is coming. They say coming to a theater near you. It's coming, coming to you. It's coming to you. The violence, you name it, whatever subject we're talking about. And so, that is a clarion call to pastors, to leaders, to black, to white, to Republicans, to Democrat, to Methodist, to Baptist, Pentecost, whoever, Muslims, non-denominational, LBGT, none of that stuff. At the end of the day, you got to check all that stuff at the door on some level.
Yes, you do.
Because all of it, this stuff will come your way.
Yes, it will.
Old, young. I mean, we got so many things that we get divided on. I like the book Wilkerson, Caste, C-A-S-T-E, Origins of Our Discontent. She talk about how elite classes of people have always divided lower classes through what she calls false rivalries.
Uh-huh.
Busting my stuff that don't everybody broke. That's short of it. You know, you
Yeah.
a Crip, you a Blood, everybody in the same boat. You know,
Everybody.
you went to Howard, they went to Riverside. Who can everybody in the same boat?
Everybody.
And don't if the people on the lower and on that are trying to grind don't have enough sense to check that stuff.
Yes.
You have a false rivalry. You know, fraternity
And that's what's
sororities. You know,
going
we've
on
seen
right
all that stuff,
now.
and all
Yeah.
us in the same situation.
Same, trying to do the
All
same
us
thing.
trying to do the same thing, and we're fighting against each other. And she said it is systematic. Churches, pastors,
Mhm.
my church,
Who
your
got the
church,
biggest church?
who
Who
got
got
the
the
biggest
most
church? All
members?
y'all in the same
Same
situation.
situation.
And so I live by that creed. You know, we don't have the time. At the end of the day, we fighting the same old fight.
Same battle.
We're fighting the same old fight. And then in the spiritual realm, you know, everything is spiritual. In the earth realm, evil don't care about all that. It's bigger than that.
It's bigger than
It
that.
don't even see black and white.
Sure
You know, that
don't.
we get caught up in. It doesn't need Ben Carson said, you know, I don't always agree with his politics, but one thing Ben Carson said that was true. He said, I was a neurosurgeon. I cut in people's heads. He said, it's hard for me to see color because when I did a brain surgery, I didn't see no black or white in there.
That's right.
You know, he said, so that's why I couldn't wrap my mind around all this stuff because I saw what was really in people. And it
Right.
makes sense. It's the same thing in
When
your
I
type
cut
of work.
folks every
You
day,
do the same thing. You ain't
Monday
saying no
through Friday,
color.
when I cut that skin, that blood all up
And
his
it all
head.
come out red. You do that
All
for your,
red.
your profession. Right. And so, you know, we have to continue to work together. Again, appreciate you. Looking forward to coming back
Yes.
soon. And we're going to work hard
Yeah,
and
we
fight
gonna
for
work
this
hard.
community.
We
So
gonna
thank
work.
you so much. Join us again today. I got to go in an hour. We're going to go down and we're going to pray. If you can't join us, pray with us. But we're going to keep you informed, listening audience. We have work to do.
Yes.
And if we don't get involved, there's the clock, there are forces that would turn us back. And we will go back 30, 40, 50 years right in front of our eyes.
Right. It's happening a little bit
voting
now.
rights and
Everything.
all types of issues. Housing, desegregation of housing patterns, school issues. Schools are as segregated today as they were 40 years ago.
Yes. Nothing's changed.
Nothing has changed. And it's reverted. What has changed is now reverting backwards. And then we've got the generation of young people that many of them don't have any direction, and we've got to get out there and work for them.
And it's true that if you don't know your history, you'll repeat it.
That's correct.
And that's what's happening. We're not teaching our children the history, and we're going backwards. Backwards. And we've gotten comfortable because some of us kind of did okay.
Yeah.
And we forgot about the struggle.
Absolutely.
And so we have to be reminded of the struggle, not that we need to get locked into this trench of thinking that, oh, everybody is still against black folks. No. Remember where you come from so you don't forget it and go back.
That's absolutely right.
And help. We used to help everybody.
Help somebody else out.
Everybody was helping
lift
one
as you
another.
climb. Absolutely. Help somebody
wasn't
else
no jealousy.
No, wasn't no jealousy.
Wasn't no jealousy.
Wasn't no
Everybody
jealousy.
was helping each
Help
other.
somebody.
Helping the children. If somebody said your kid was down the street smoking weed, then they say, whoop them right there and bring them on home. They're
And
gonna
then
get
when I get them,
one.
when they come on, I got plenty of them.
Right.
You start whipping them, and then when I get there,
tag teaming. So now we've got our young folks out there carrying AK-47s. Where are they getting
them
guns?
From?
Come on,
getting
people.
them from? First of all.
And parents, stop sleeping. Wake up.
Wake up.
You know, we got a right to go in our kids' room and check their drawers.
Absolutely.
They coming home with a stack of money, with a new pair of shoes that you didn't buy. You ask them where they got it from and make them take it right back.
Absolutely.
None of your kids should be coming home with money and shoes and clothes and things that you didn't buy or you don't know who bought it for them.
Take it back.
Take it back. You know, so this is what's happening. You know, our parents are kind of closing their eyes to what their kids are doing and acting like they're not doing it. Yes, they are doing it. Yes, your kids are acting bad in school. Yes, the teacher is not lying on your kid. Yeah. So stop going up to the school wanting to clown with the teacher because your kid done come home with a sad, pitiful story that she picking on them.
Absolutely.
No, she not. Your kid is acting up every day, or he's with the other bad kids, and he was the one got caught.
Absolutely.
Our parents used to tell us, if a kid is bad, I want you to move away from them. And the teachers would come and get us. If they knew our parents, they would separate us from the bad kids so we wouldn't get in trouble.
Absolutely.
But nowadays, you can't even talk to the parents. The parents are mean and like to fight, like to come up and cause drama. And the parents scare the teachers, and the teachers don't want to teach your kid. So you know what? They let them sit over there and self-destruct. They don't teach them. They teach to the left of your kid or to the right of your kid. And when your kid get ready to go to graduate, they don't know nothing. They're not on the 8th grade level. Why? Because you can't talk to your kid, because your kid go home and tell you lies. So she leave your kid alone. She don't teach to them anymore. You know, there's other kids in the room. If your kid can't mind and running home telling you lies, she would teach to the left of your kid and to the right of your kid and let your kid fall through the crack. That's what's happening.
Absolutely.
So work with these teachers. Work with them. And so we got a lot to talk about, especially with economics, because everybody say, well, education is your way out of poverty. Well, yeah, but not by itself, because there are other scholars that will say you got to have economics. Economics is the first step, and education is right there by it. But you can't have just education by itself.
No, ma'am. They work hand in hand.
They work hand in hand. So we get the education part, but where is the money? And that's what we're talking about now. Absolutely. We done woke up.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I said God fixed it where Alton Park Development Corporation was denied the $3.5 million. That was so we could find out what they're doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
As I said, Pastor, we are, and you served on this board once before. When we were doing the Hope 6 project. You were a board member to Alton Park Development Corporation. You know, we've been around since 1998. We are a disadvantaged Black organization serving the poor community. And it was just kind of Alton Park, but now we are the only CDC, Community Development Corporation, left that's disadvantaged in this community, and we serve the entire community. You know, our charter has kind of changed to who we serve.
Right.
And we are sitting right here in the middle of the most disadvantaged community of Hamilton County.
Wow.
And we didn't get one penny.
Not a penny.
The Secretary of State records are good. We are active. Our IRS tax returns are good. We are active. Our business license with the Secretary of State is good. We are licensed. We have a $3 million piece of property that we own now, debt free.
Right.
You know, we're good. And so the things, and I think we've sent you the proposal. The things that we just talked about, economics, you know, training, all of those things that set our communities behind is a part of that $3.5 million. The crime that we're dealing with, the violent and the nonviolent crime that's going on, that prevention task force is a part of that $3.5 million. And we have the experts working the workforce development piece. We have experts working the violent and nonviolent crime and diversion program piece. And we have experts working the 0 to 4 education preschool piece. So all of those three pieces come up to 3.5 million, which is not a lot of money. I know it sounds like it is, but when you got an entire community of Chattanooga that you're serving, that's just a little piece. That's only 5% of $71.4 million that the county got. So we're going to dive deep into this.
Absolutely.
We will bring you all answers. We are going to be working very diligently, not in front of the pastors, not even necessarily behind the pastors, but we're going to be working with the pastors, and we're going to be pulling everybody from this community together so that our communities can come up. That's why all the shootings going on. They're hopeless.
They're hopeless.
Hopeless. They see that there's nothing in it for them nowhere.
Absolutely.
So they just get destructive. They just start killing folks because they don't see a way out. And right now there is not a way out unless we step up.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we're going to solve this. We're going to help our people.
Yeah, we got to.
And in helping our people, we're going to help the entire community.
Absolutely.
Because if one part of the body is cancerous, it spreads to the rest of the body.
Absolutely.
Am I right?
You're correct. You were correct.
And so I love you, Pastor, and I love all those other pastors. Pastor Ladd, who I hate to start
all
naming folks.
Everybody.
Thrasher, all of y'all.
Everybody.
Y'all are in there fighting. You're meeting with the city mayors and now the county mayor. And we thank you all.
Thank you.
We thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So y'all got it. This is
All right.
Pastor Jeffrey Wilson of New United Church. What time did your church
10
start on
o'clock
Sunday?
Sundays. Love to have you join us in person, 2629 Tunnel Boulevard. If you want to, you can join us online. We're Facebook, New United Missionary Baptist Church, and you can get our sermons on our webpage, newunited.org.
Yes.
Love to have you.
So this
Thank you.
pastor's been around forever. You know, sometimes they don't last that long.
That's
But I
right.
remember him back probably when my daughter was 1 or 2 years old. She's
Absolutely.
now 30. So
Absolutely.
he's been around at least 28 years. Because
Absolutely.
she's now 30. She was 2 then. So
Baby, absolutely.
and you ain't never heard nothing bad about Pastor Jeffrey Wilson, his lovely wife, Dr. Spraglin, and she's got a pediatric office.
Amen.
She's a
Yeah.
beautiful person of God.
Thank you.
I mean, you've never heard any stink on him.
Amen.
And so we just love you.
Thank you
You
so
are
much.
an example for all of us to follow.
Thank you.
And
Thank
so
you.
I can't say nothing about you.
Thank you.
Nothing about you. But thank you.
Thank you.
I
Thank
love you so
love.
much.
Thank you for having me.
And we have a call-in number because I know he's got to go for his walk. But the call-in number is 423-713-7614. You know, sometimes people get scared to call because I know they listen. We had a caller from Texas. We had some other callers this morning from all over the world calling in. If you have something you want to ask the pastor, he's got to get out of here, and I'm not going to hold him up because I told him I wasn't going to hold him up. Then you all got about 10 seconds to make that phone ring, and then I'm going to let him go. And while we're waiting on that phone to ring in the next 10 seconds, I want to invite you all out to the Church of Nazarene next Saturday. I'm going to be one of their keynote speakers about Juneteenth. And the title is Juneteenth. What's the big deal? What's the big deal? That's my title, y'all. And y'all know I'm going to turn it out. And I want to thank, who is it? What's his name? Ricky. He's out there doing some great stuff with the Juneteenth.
I don't know who that is.
He had a big event last weekend celebrating. Kudos to you for all the things that you did for the arts. I appreciate that. I watched you online, and you've done a fantastic job with Juneteenth. And I want to invite all of you all. I have more information online on when I'm going to be speaking. The address is on North Terrace out in Brainerd. I want you all to come out and support us as I give a speech on next Saturday.
Absolutely.
About Juneteenth. What's the big deal?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Pastor, thank you so much
for having me, Doctor. I look forward to coming back.
Yes. Anytime. And you all know WPTP is on all platforms. We have a YouTube channel. We have a Facebook. We have a Twitter, Instagram, and we're online all over the world at WPTP1001FM.com. And on your dial, just turn to 100.1 FM radio, and you can hear us in Chattanooga. And we're going to shorten this show today. But before we go out tomorrow, make sure you all reach out to a church or turn on your virtual and listen to what God has to say. He may save your life. I don't know. Absolutely. But just tune in and hear the word of the Lord and what he has for you. You all are always welcome to my church, Greater Emmanuel Apostolic Church, also located at 400 Tunnel Boulevard, where Pastor Paul Warfield Jr. is the pastor. We do amazing things there. You all are always welcome to come out there and get the Holy Ghost Spirit every day, really, because we got something going on almost every day. Absolutely. Just like Pastor Wilson does down the street. So both wonderful churches. You can catch the Spirit at either one of those churches. Absolutely. I know what's going on at your church. Absolutely. I've been there at your church. So until next week, I want you all to have a blessed day. Be safe. And kids, young folks, young adults, and overgrown folks. Come on, y'all. Put these guns down. We are not the enemies. You know, we are not the enemy. Let the pastors fight this. Let them fight this war. It's not against each other. We're fighting the wrong people. You're angry and upset at the wrong people. Let us fight this and let us fight it together. Okay? Put the guns down. Stop it. Stop. Just stop. We love you. And to God be the glory. Y'all have a great weekend. Thank you.